What is up, guys? Gronk here with another WWE13 Universe Mode video. This is part 2 of WCW and part 1 of Monday Night Raw. The WCW video was too short to do by itself. What's this? Hulk Hogan talking in the ring. The lights have gone out. And who's behind him? It's Sting! Sting making his Universe Mode debut, staring at Hogan. Hogan tumbles out of the ring, scared for his life here. Sting intimidating Hogan by far here, just scaring Hogan badly. Hogan doesn't want Sting to attack him. Now the champion Goldberg and the man who attacked him last week, Scott Steiner, talking, exchanging words. Things are getting tense here, pointing fingers. Steiner walks away, giving up. But a cheap shot by Scott Steiner and a spear taking Goldberg's finisher, and they're brawling, punching, and exchanging blows here. And now security separating the two. They're going to face the WCW's first pay-per-view for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And now we're on Monday Night Raw. This is the one half of the tag team champions, Jack Swagger. His opponent at the WWE first pay-per-view, Extreme Rules, was chosen by, well, his opponent's Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler was allowed to choose Swagger's opponent tonight, and vice versa. Swagger chose Ziggler's opponent, so Swagger's up first. I'm going to review Monday Night Raw, though, guys, but let's see who Swagger's opponent is. It's Ryback! Ryback now making his Universe Mode debut. Ryback coming out into the arena, but let's talk about Monday Night Raw in real life. So the show started off with John Cena, the WWE Champion, and Daniel Bryan signing the contract for their SummerSlam WWE Championship match, with Brad Maddox also there. So Cena said that he chose Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan deserves it, and Bryan said that other people want to hold him down, and even though he's not the biggest, he is the best. And Cena said that Bryan is the best competition available for Cena, and Cena wants to know that he is the best, that Cena deserves to be the champion. So then Brad Maddox got, I guess, pissed off by Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan started yelling at Maddox when Maddox interrupted Bryan, and then Maddox said that Daniel Bryan will be in matches tonight, hinting that there will be more than one match with Daniel Bryan, and that wouldn't come till later in the show. Then Brad Maddox led into a really annoying no chant, like mocking Daniel Bryan, going back and forth with the crowd. Maddox chanting no, the crowd chanting yes. I mean, for the first like 5 seconds it was okay, but then it went on for about 30 seconds. I'm like, this is really annoying. I'm not a huge fan of Brad Maddox. There's something about him I really don't like. But Raw, I don't know. It wasn't as good as Raw has been for the past few weeks. The Wyatts were not seen, which really irritates me, because I really like the Wyatts, and the only way the Wyatts were on TV this week was through a promo recapping their debut and their actions so far. So they better be on TV next week. They'll probably be on Main Event, maybe even SmackDown, because they were not on Raw this week. Also, The Big Show was advertised to return. I didn't really care because I'm not a fan of The Big Show, but he didn't return. So WWE advertised Big Show to return, and Big Show was not seen on Raw. I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if they just canceled it last second or if they scrapped it from the show for other segments. But the first match of the night was Sheamus versus the World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio. As soon as this match started, I knew Del Rio would win because Del Rio lost to Randy Orton on SmackDown, and they would not have Del Rio lose back-to-back on television. So it was a really good match, especially for Sheamus and Del Rio. Sheamus had a really bad bruise on his leg, just going all around his leg from a spot in a Money in the Bank match where Sheamus fell through a ladder. It was brutal, and Del Rio kept kicking the leg. At one point, Del Rio super kicked the bruise on Sheamus' leg. It was brutal. It made me cringe. It was like really painful looking, and so I'm not a real fan of either of these guys. But kudos to Sheamus because his leg must have been really hurting. So Del Rio won via a roll-up when Sheamus went for the white noise and his leg gave out. Swagger getting momentum on Ryback here, though. I think that's called a Vader bomb, not Vader bomb, like a Vader salt or something. I don't know, but Swagger getting momentum here at one half of the tag team champions. Next up, Christian defeated Titus O'Neil. This is one thing that really upset me about tonight's Monday Night Raw. WWE has all these part-timers like Christian, like Rob Van Dam, Mark Henry, all these guys, and they should be putting over the young talent when instead WWE has Christian and Rob Van Dam beating the younger talent. Here, Christian defeats Titus O'Neil, and I really like Titus O'Neil, but they don't really get the primetime players on TV that much. So Titus O'Neil loses to Christian, and then And on a related note, Darren Young loses to Rob Van Dam on SmackDown, and he loses to Dolph Ziggler tonight. I don't know if the WWE is mad at the primetime players because they're never on TV, and when they are, they're always losing. So that's frustrating because I really think Titus Young could be good, or Titus O'Neil could be really good. He's got the absolute look of a superstar. I think if he were given a manager, or if he was part of a stable, not just a tag team that's never on TV, I think he could be really good. Darren Young is a better wrestler, but I like Titus Young. I did it again, guys. Titus O'Neil a lot more. Next up, Dolph Ziggler defeated Darren Young, as I said. Big E Langston attacks Dolph Ziggler after the match, and Ziggler escapes, leaving Big E Langston and AJ Lee in the ring looking pissed off. So it looks like Dolph Ziggler will be feuding with Big E Langston. They'll probably face off at SummerSlam. I don't want to say it upsets me, but Dolph Ziggler was just the World Heavyweight Champion. He should be feuding with Alberto Del Rio. Instead, he's feuding with Big E Langston. But hopefully, what's this? The Shell Shock by Ryback on one half of the Tag Team Champions. Brutal impact. But Ziggler and Big E Langston are going to feud. Probably going to face off at SummerSlam. Yeah, so hopefully Ziggler will feud with Del Rio shortly after that. Hopefully this feud doesn't go on too long with Big E Langston. Speaking of Del Rio, as I said, Del Rio beat Sheamus, but there was no story to it. I mean, no one's feuding with Del Rio right now, and he's the World Heavyweight Champion. That cannot happen. The World Heavyweight Champion needs a feud. I have no idea who Del Rio's going to face. That's what I'm saying. What's this? Look at the strength of Ryback. Oh, and a slam on the thinly shielded steel of the ramp. So it looks like the Usos and Mark Henry will face the Shield at SummerSlam. Henry got attacked by a Shield again, but the Usos ran out to save him. So I don't know if they're gonna go with a full-blown Henry face turn. I wouldn't like that, but the Usos and Henry working together, and that's rumored to be a match at SummerSlam. Miz TV was a segment with the cast of the new Total Divas show, and I could not care less about that. I've never been a real fan of the Divas division. It's not really entertaining to me, so I won't even talk about it. If you guys didn't see, Nikki Bella had one of the Bellas had a wardrobe malfunction. I'm not going to talk about that. It's probably on YouTube. It's definitely on Twitter. It's got to be somewhere, but it was pretty bad. It was pretty obvious. Go check it out if you want to. Cody Rhodes defeated Fandango. Cody Rhodes botched a moonsault, and Fandango had to save Cody Rhodes' momentum, basically, because Cody Rhodes was too far from Fandango, and Fandango had to roll towards Cody to make the moonsault complete. Damian Sandow, Mr. Money in the Bank, was on commentary. Sandow tried to get in Rhodes' face, but Rhodes kicked Sandow and still won the match. So the Gut Wrench Powerbomb by Jack Swagger, a pretty back and forth match. Ryback getting some damage in, but that's the Gut Wrench Powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Swagger wins. One half of the Tag Team Champions. So the first pay-per-view in this Universe mode should be coming up quite fairly soon. This is episode 3 of Raw. I don't really know yet. I'll check it out next video and let you guys know when that pay-per-view will be. But Swagger victorious here, getting some momentum going into the pay-per-view. Also on the pay-per-view, The Rock versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. We'll see them later tonight. And Daniel Bryan versus Damian Sandow for the Intercontinental Championship. And wait, what's this? The other half of the Tag Team Champions, Antonio Cesaro's come out here. He's getting a chair. They're going to attack Ryback here. But here comes Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler stopping the Americans, as they're called, from attacking Ryback. And now we're going to see Dolph Ziggler versus Antonio Cesaro. This one's going to be a good match. Both men very talented wrestlers. But getting back to Raw, so we saw some interaction between CM Punk and Paul Heyman. Punk said that he is not afraid of Lesnar, even though Punk is hurt badly from Lesnar's attack on him last week. Punk plans to make Paul Heyman miserable for betraying him. Brock is a large user of the aspect of fear, so Punk said he's not scared. Those two are going to face off at SummerSlam. It's official, one-on-one, CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. I think it could go either way. Punk could use the win a lot more. He's a younger guy. He's around pretty much every week except for when he takes off or when he gets hurt. But Brock Lesnar's just around sporadically, part-time, and I think Punk should win, but I think Brock Lesnar will win because a rumored match for WrestleMania 30 is Brock versus The Rock, and or Brock versus The Undertaker, and they're going to want Brock to have as much momentum as possible, but it could go either way. Next up, again, we have part-timers beating younger guys, which I think is the opposite of what should happen. Rob Van Dam defeats Wade Barrett, and my only thought on that is why. Wade Barrett deserves to be a World Heavyweight Champion. He should be in the spotlight right now, and he isn't. He's somewhat got pushes before, but then he'll get hurt. Nice counter by Antonio Cesaro with a neck breaker. But Rob Van Dam defeats Wade Barrett. I don't know what they're doing with Rob Van Dam. He's not going to be around for long. The deal he signed with WWE is not long-term, so I don't know what their plans for him are, unless they don't really have a plan. He'll just beat up on young guys and just try to get the fans to cheer. I don't know. Dan O'Brien, for the last 45 minutes of Raw, we only got Dan O'Brien, and that, to me, is great. I am a huge fan of Dan O'Brien. He is an amazing wrestler. I really like him. So Brad Maddox arranged for Dan O'Brien to be in 3 matches, basically a gauntlet match. First, Dan O'Brien defeated Jack Swagger, and that match wasn't the best. It was okay. I mean, Dan O'Brien really can't have a bad match. Next up, Dan O'Brien defeated Antonio Cesaro in a phenomenal, amazing, potential match of the year candidate. Amazing match. At one point, Cesaro was brutally uppercutting Dan O'Brien. It just got real physical. It was brutal, but amazing to watch. Bryan won. I forget what the move's called, but he jumped off the top rope. Cesaro caught him, threw Bryan back up in the air, and Bryan countered into a roll-up and got the win. Great match. And last up, Ryback came out to face Dan O'Brien. It was a good match shortly. It wasn't a really long match, but this was the last few minutes of Raw. And Ryback got himself disqualified by powerbombing Dan O'Brien through a table. Then John Cena, the champion, Bryan's SummerSlam opponent, ran to the ring, saving Dan O'Brien. Next week on Raw, it's going to be a tables match between John Cena and Ryback. We've seen that before, and now we've seen it before for the WWE Championship, so Cena's probably going to win. I don't know what's going to happen there. Right now, it looks like WWE is just going to look to have the angle be John Cena and Bryan are friends. It's not going to be a personal feud just yet, at least. But my prediction is Dan Bryan's going to win the championship at SummerSlam, and very soon after, like the same night, as soon as Bryan wins it, Randy Orton's going to cash in, turning Randy Orton slowly into a heel, and then Bryan and Randy Orton will feud. But that's basically it, guys. It was a pretty good Raw. Oh, actually, I can't even say that. The highlights of Raw were the Paul Heyman and CM Punk segment and Daniel Bryan versus Antonio Cesaro. Other than that, it wasn't the best. And as I said, they have young guys losing to older guys, which I think is just wrong. Cena versus Daniel Bryan's a pretty good feud so far. And look at this, the neutralizer by Antonio Cesaro. He could steal a win here. Big win for Cesaro if he gets it. He hits the neutralizer, his signature move, but Ziggler gets out of the ring just in the nick of time. Now these two are going to brawl on the outside. A German suplex on Dolph Ziggler. Very smart by Jack Swagger to choose his tag team partner to face Dolph Ziggler before their pay-per-view match. Swagger versus Ziggler will face the pay-per-view. I don't know the stipulation yet. It's going to be Extreme Rule, some sort of extreme stipulation, because the pay-per-view is Extreme Rules, where every match is extreme. And now Cesaro headfirst into the announce table. Ziggler is hurting here, holding his abdomen after that neutralizer. Ziggler stripping the announce table of its electronics. Now German suplex after a missed super kick on Antonio Cesaro. Ziggler gathering momentum here. And a leg drop bulldog by Dolph Ziggler on the outside. That's not going to feel good any day of the week. Cesaro headfirst into the thinly padded concrete. Ziggler throwing Cesaro into the announce table. What's this? This is not good, guys. Dolph Ziggler picking up Antonio Cesaro. Oh no. What is this? Dolph Ziggler with a face buster through the announce table, busting open Antonio Cesaro. Oh my goodness. Cesaro's busted open. He's bleeding. This match has got to be over. Cesaro being rolled back into the ring. Ziggler going for the pin. One. And how does Cesaro kick out of that? That's the 1 count glitch. And a big boot firing right back at Dolph Ziggler. This is a good match, guys. Very, very good wrestlers, both men. Could go either way here. Both men taking a lot of damage so far. Cesaro dragging Ziggler away from the ropes, going for the pin to put Ziggler away. 1, 2, no. Ziggler kicks out. He's hurting. Antonio Cesaro's hurting. Ziggler running at Cesaro in the corner, putting him up on the top rope. Ziggler wants the win here, but Swagger got the momentum before this match by beating Ryback. Ziggler wants momentum and a Green Bay plunge. That's an unusual maneuver on Dolph Ziggler's part. pulling out everything he can. 1 and a 1 count again. Cesaro just a machine, not staying down for more than 1 count. But now Ziggler focusing on the arm. If a man as strong as Cesaro can't do much when his arms are taken away from him, but Cesaro with a counter, Ziggler is dazed and out on his feet. And another big boot from Cesaro, punishing Ziggler, now repaying Ziggler for targeting his arm, stomping on Ziggler's arm, and now stomping him again while he's still down. But now Del Rio, why did I say that? Now a roll-up. 1. No. Ziggler kicks out. Cesaro wanted to steal the win here. And some chain wrestling here. And another counter by Ziggler. Could go either way. Headlock by Ziggler. And another arm breaker. Irish whip by Dolph Ziggler. And another inside cradle by Antonio Cesaro. 1. And another kick out. Cesaro building momentum. And a sick lariat clothesline by Dolph Ziggler. Going to the top rope. And a nice elbow drop. Picture perfect by Dolph Ziggler. Going for the pin. 1 and not even a 1 that time. Cesaro is a machine, but then a belly-to-belly overhead suplex by Antonio Cesaro, displaying his brute strength. Now they're going to brawl on the outside again. Reversal by Cesaro. Cesaro has a finisher, guys, but being sent into the steel guardrail, and a headbutt by Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler getting momentum for himself as well, throwing Cesaro full force back into the ring. And Ziggler, impactful elbow drop, kips up here just like Shawn Michaels. The show off, building momentum, looking to put Cesaro away. And Cesaro, no, counted by Dolph Ziggler. And a knee right to the gut. Ziggler calling for the zigzag, getting Cesaro up, and the zigzag by Dolph Ziggler. 1, 2, 3. Ziggler wins. Both Swagger and Ziggler beat their opponents for tonight, not to be redundant, sorry guys. So Ziggler wins. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for part 2 of this Monday Night Raw. Take care. Bye. Got Ziggler calling for the